Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, I'm playing, at long last, after many requests, PREMODERN. I did this once before on the channel, but I had to find an opponent. We had to use the open play, open, no deck rules, freeform room to do it, because this wasn't a supported format on Magic Online. But right now, from early December until January 20th, Magic Online is doing something called Contraption. Contraption is something that they're calling a format lab, where they will premiere a new format every month or two and give people a chance to play that format for a while, and then they'll rotate it out. And right now, in the Contraption lab is PREMODERN. That means it's supported on Magic Online, and I can just join a league with no extra work. Opponents will come to me. It's a beautiful thing. That's really the only thing keeping me from playing PREMODERN all the time on the channel. And Patreon subscriber Peter asked me to play PREMODERN and whatever deck I want, and I have chosen to play the Replenish Opalescence Parallax combo deck. This is a deck that I have ported into Legacy to some great success on the channel. This is also the PREMODERN deck that I can build in real life. I don't have a regular PREMODERN scene. Pittsburgh does, where I live, but I don't show up to it because I have to be super stingy with my Magic time because of, life and being a human being in the world. And it may surprise you to learn Magic takes up a lot of my time, it being my job and stuff. So I'm not opting to spend my Sunday afternoons playing PREMODERN, although it's dope. But this is the deck I can build in real life. I do have the Tide and the Wave and the Opalescences, like all these cards that are very expensive because of PREMODERN now. Parallax Tide is like $35 in real life, and on Magic Online currently, it's 120. This single printing staple that nobody was really ready for spiked into the moon. Thank goodness for Card Hoarder. As for the deck itself, it's a blue-white control deck that pivots into a combo finish at some point. The card Replenish, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Parallax Wave, 5 fading counters. You can remove a fade counter to exile target creature. When this enchantment leaves the battlefield, bring all the creatures back. Parallax Tide is the same thing, but for lands. And basically what we're trying to do is get to a spot where we can manipulate these exile and return triggers. There's 1 Stifle in the deck. There's also 3 Seal of Cleansings in the deck. If you exile 5 lands holding priority, in response destroy your own wave, the wave is destroyed, returns all the lands that it hasn't exiled yet, and then all the exile activations resolve, and the lands are just gone forever. That's one trick. Stifling the return trigger after one of these things fades away is another way to do it. And then what we're really working towards is Opalescence. Each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and toughness equal to its mana value. That means Parallax Wave can exile itself, and it means it can exile Parallax Tide. And what that means, practically, is Parallax Wave, you can exile up to 4 creatures, holding priority, and then in response exile itself to itself. It gets exiled, triggering return all the exiled things. It returns itself with 5 fade counters, and then the 4 activations resolve, exiling the 4 creatures permanently. This is a hard lock against creatures. And Parallax Tide, you could do the same thing for lands. You put 5 exiles on the stack, then you exile Parallax Tide with Parallax Wave, and then the Tide comes back and the lands don't. And you have infinite exiles of creatures and lands for the rest of the game. Attunement, return this enchantment to your hand, draw 3, discard 4. Frantic Search, draw 2, discard 2. Intuition, tutor 3, put 2 of them in the graveyard. These are all just engines that get your enchantments where they need to be to resolve a big replenish. And then we have some plows, mana leaks, that sort of thing to buy time until this happens. I'm excited to do this. I love this deck. Thank you, Magic Online, for supporting this, even if it's temporary. I love this. Let's do it. This is Azorius Replenish from Peter. I'm on the draw in round 1. My hand has lands and spells in it. This hand could just get run over. This being Tide instead of Wave means I can't really stabilize versus creatures. Seal of Cleansing has a lot of targets in the format. I will preface right now immediately, I am not a PREMODERN expert. I've played this format like maybe 8 to 10 games in my life, and I'm aware of it because a bunch of my friends and people I follow on socials play it. I am doing this mostly to showcase the format, not to teach you how to play it. Okay, all right, well, there's Wave. That helps me stabilize versus creatures. Rashadan Port and Wasteland are both in this format. Looks like we're playing against Burn, though. The Fetch Mountain Pass, playing around Stifle, makes some sense. I led on the Fetch land because Rashadan Port's in the format. Obviously, Plains doesn't have to worry about Wasteland. There's no Meticulous Archives in this one. All right, I've been incinerated. Mana Leak, okay. That one's good. I'm playing the Plains out now because I actually do want to draw my 4th land. It's pretty important. Mog Fanatic, that guy's okay. And if I have to fetch twice, that's 1 less land in my deck if I'm mana leaking. Addercar Waste. Okay, there's land number 4. Lock it in. Hopefully I get a good target for mana leak this turn, because I'm going to try to be tapping out the rest of the game. Yeah, I'll leak basically anything here. I probably should have tapped Addercar Waste, though I'm not casting a spell either way, and this way I am bluffing Force Spike. Okay. Second Bolt, they've got 2 cards in hand with Mog Fanatic on board. Ay, caramba! Oh, baby. All right, that's a big one. Okay, I'm at 3. Not a great life total to be at, just generally speaking. I think that's fair to say. Okay, so if I fetch, I'm at 2, and then Mog Fanatic attack sack is game, so I actually have to play Parallax Tide here. And I have to fetch Plains to do it, because I can't take 1 from Addercar Waste. Oh no. All right, hold on. If I take 1 from Addercar Waste this turn, like fetching Island, then I can tide all their lands next turn without taking 1. Like, I have to take 1 somewhere. I'm going to be at functionally 1 life regardless. Okay, this Flooded Strand pretty tough. Oh wait, if I fetch and then take 1, I'm literally fucking dead. Never mind. I was counting 1 thing but not both at the incorrect times. All right, Parallax Wave. I'm dead to any spell. I'm just gonna slurp this thing out right now. They might just deal 1 to me. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm dead to any spell. I'm dead to Mog Fanatic. I'm not dead to Ball Lightning. All right, pass the turn, and I need them to brick. That's not a brick. That's actually quite good. I guess if I had invested a Seal of Cleansing earlier in the game, there was probably a turn where I had 2 mana and didn't cast one of those. Okay, all right. I've learned about pre-modern. Okay, Hydroblast, obviously, for this matchup. I don't think I need Sabo's Web. I only saw Mountains. Exalted Angel, clearly, for this matchup. Abeyance. Target player can't cast instants or sorceries, and they can't activate mana or abilities that aren't mana abilities. Draw a card. I don't think I want that, because a lot of the burn spells we saw are instants. Orm's Chant could stop them attacking, but doesn't stop them burning. It's quite good versus Ball Lightning. But so is Swords to Plowshares. A Sulfuric Vortex. Hell of a card. Seal of Cleansing works with me and against me. Like, I can blow up their Sulfuric Vortexes and also my Parallax Waves. Oh yeah, I should have been setting that up anyway. Even if I didn't think they had Sulfuric Vortex, with that handful of Parallax items, I was just not setting up my combo correctly. All right. I definitely messed that game up. Do I want mana leaks? I think I can have less attunement. Mana leak does operate on the curve. I like that. And with Intuition in my deck, I don't need 4 copies of cards. I could play with 3. I think it's more important for me to interact early and be stable in the mid game than it is to maximize on the combo. Factor Fiction might just be too slow in this matchup. We saw a bunch of fetch lands. Stifle is appealing there. I don't think I want the second one, but I don't think I want to cut the first one either. Do I like Attunement more or less than Factor Fiction? Attunement is so many cards, but so is Factor Fiction. It's actually more cards. All right, I'm going to shave an Attunement, and I'm going to try it like this. I see that Wrath of God over there. I didn't really see creatures that I need to Wrath up. Okay, 2 lands is not the number that I'd really like. And I didn't see Wasteland the game 1, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. But I have multiple sideboard cards. Bangers, you could say. And Addercar Waste, serious cost against burn in this format. I think if I just drew like a Plains last game instead of an Adhikar Waste, I could have made better and easier decisions. But that's cool. That's a cool thing about the format. Having perfect mana all the time. We're used to it in Modern, Legacy, Vintage. That just doesn't have to be the world. Straight up jacking it. I am going to counter this. That's going to deal a lot of damage to me. All right. I am going to invest my Seal of Cleansing this time. I won't forget. Please don't have Wasteland, for God's sakes. And I hope I draw land. Okay, Mountain. Incinerate while I'm tapped out. I like that. Land. Land. Oh, baby, magic's easy. Do I want the Exalted Angel in? I think I do. They're going to know what this is. Anyone who's played Pre-Modern for 1 second of their life knows exactly what's going on here. And this flips for 4. All right. It ate a lightning bolt. I'll take it. Big draws. Another frantic search. This turn could get crazy. Getting Pyroblasted would be pretty whack. No! All right. Sad. Doing it main phase hits my land drop, though, so it's still worth doing. Yeah, Ball Lightning. Get me good. It's not an enchantment, is it? It's not. Spoiler. Okay, there's land number 4. That's good for Replenish, if I can get anything to replenish. Challenge level impossible. I'll discard Seal of Cleansing and Skycloud Expanse. All right, well, that was a huge brick, and now I'm in some trouble. Replenishing back just Seal of Cleansing sucks. Jackal Pop. Okay, I drew a wave. That's actually great. That can stabilize against the pup. And I do have Replenish for that one at 9. That's 3 bolts. Sulfuric Vortex. I was ready. That's gone immediately. Another Replenish. I'll sit on that for a minute. If I get like Tormod's Cryptid here or something, that would be a bummer. Lightning Bolt. That's 6. I would really like a Tide. Swords to Plowshares. None of my own creatures to target here. My Kingdom for Ponder. Wave is down to 1. Mana Leak. Okay, that is somewhat helpful. Fading objects die when you can't remove a fade counter. So it's not going to die this turn. It'll die the turn after, but I won't be able to exile creatures for this 1 turn in between. If they've been sitting on a Ball Lightning or something, the coast is now clear. Oh, played around the Mana Leak. Gross, brutal. Fact or Fiction. Well, that's what I wanted last turn. Do I want to do this now? I could just die if they have a spell. I think I have to just die if they have a spell. All right. Fact or Fiction. This helps hit the land drop. And if they just incinerate me here, that will get me eventually anyway. Okay, yeah, Fire Blast was playing around. Mana Leak anyway. Okay, so what I needed to do that game was see this Fact or Fiction 1 or 2 turns earlier. We just did nothing for so long. And them countering the first Frantic Search was really important. If I was 2 cards deeper this game, it would have been the Fact or Fiction. I would have hit the Fact or Fiction sooner. Okay, yeah, I mean, that was just good magic. It felt like the olden days where everything wasn't completely free. Ponder, Brainstorm, throwing cards around didn't really happen because Ponder's not in this format. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. 1 lander, completely unkeepable. Gonna mulligan. Oh no, it's getting worse. I don't think I can rely on Sabo's Web being a cantrip off of Ancient Tomb. Straight to 5. All right, we got to stop somewhere. I will keep this. I got a bottom 2. I would like the 3 lands, Attunement, and Replenish in my hand. Like, I think that's just the path to victory. Sucks to bottom the Swords to Plowshares, but I am going to focus on what I can control, which is this reasonable line to recover. Elves. All right, yeah, Swords of Plowshares would have been great. Opalescence. All right, it's getting better. I still need a 4th land, so I'm not going to crack this Flooded Strand if I can avoid it. Priest of Titania, holy smokes, I'm dead next turn. Oh no, Swords to Plowshares. Okay, actually, I am going to fetch here because that shuffles that Swords to Plowshares that I put on the bottom back into the deck, and I'm now scared. Ooh, I could attune right now, leaving a white floating. Interesting. All right. I wish I knew how the elf deck killed in this format. Okay, I am going to play Ancient Tomb. I'm not going to float mana. I'm just going to invest the attunement. Playing the Ancient Tomb gives me an extra card to discard. Like, I don't need this add card waste anymore. I just jump from 2 to 4. And Wirewood Symbiote. Here we go. Multani's Acolyte. When this enters, draw a card. That is an elf. Oh, this taps for 3 and they can tap it twice. Or they can tap it 3 times. They have 9 mana showing right now. Timberwatch Elf. All right, that guy is scary, but not till next turn. Priest now taps for 4. They've got 3 cards in hand I don't know. One of them's a forest they just picked up. I'm extremely worried about Graveyard Hate. I'm not worried about enchantment removal. Oh, they floated 4, bounced an elf. Another symbiote. Acolyte's back. They still have a bounce left from this symbiote, and the priest is currently untapped. 5 in the pool. Yeah, this is sweet. Multani's Acolyte. It's no Elvish Visionary, but it's doing a good impression at this moment. Oh, fuck yeah. All right, well, I better draw cards. And I have no outs. Oh, there's the plow. It was actually there. All right. Well, I go to 0. I'm gonna concede. Oh, yeah. All right, I just got turn 3 biorhythmed. Got my ass. Okay, obviously, if I knew the matchup, I would have kept Swords to Plowshares in my hand, but in the absence of that information, what are you going to do? Orm's Chant actually seems really good versus both halves of their deck. Wrath of God, obviously great. Sabo's Web, not really what I want versus a bunch of forests. Swords to Plowshares. Seal of Cleansing. Again, it's good for me, but doesn't hit their stuff. I think in this matchup, I am actually trying to speedrun the combo. Stifle. Seal. It is awkward that just the poor interaction in your deck is also part of your soft combo. But I'm trying a hard combo, I think. Can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. That's Wirewood Symbiote, that's Timberwatch Elf, that's Quirion Ranger. They can also just do all those things at instant speed. And Ranger probably isn't that useful at instant speed. Okay, I'm gonna go like this. That was awesome. And Greater Half Behemoth is kind of a chump. Okay, this hand actually looks really good for the matchup. I need a 4th mana, but that's always going to be the case with this deck. Llanowar Elves. I am just going to plow that. Can I get a land? Not yet. Alright, well, they have to pay Echo for that next turn if they want to keep it, and if they're just cantripping, I can live with that. Bad news, team. Okay, they are paying to keep that thing. Concordant Crossroads, all creatures have haste. I don't think I can live with that in my life. That makes everything so shitty. I'll just take 3 to mana leak it. Brutal. Alright, Dick, that land would be sick. Oh my god. Oh, we're technically still in. Alright, pass the turn. I'm going to take 5 to Factor Fiction in the end step and hope that's good enough. Findhorn Elves, you got it. And if I can convert this Factor Fiction into like a basic Plains, which casts this Wrath of God, maybe we're still gaming. Take 2 from Acolyte. And end step. Go to 7. Do some work, opponent. All right, well, I am happy to just take 4 lands if they offer them. Choose the pile to put into your hand. 4 lands. Easiest choice of my life. Okay, basic Plains is in. And I'm going to discard Opalescence to hand size, which is where I want it anyway. I have Orm's Chant if things get ugly. They're fetching in my end step. I'm just going to discard Opalescence. Oh, something in the end step. Caller of the Claw. Okay, so they played around Wrath of God here. That is a 2/2. When it enters, you get a bear for each creature that died this turn, which is 0. Sylvan Messenger. This fills your hand with elves. Wow. All right, well, symbiotes aren't elves. They got 2 Quirion Rangers. I hope they just dump them all out, but they're not going to. All right, at the beginning of combat, I will kick Orm's Chant, which deals another damage to me. You love to see it. Frantic Search. This could get rowdy, but not this turn. I think this turn, I simply have to Wrath of God. All right, I'm at 4. These Ancient Tombs running out of juice. Sylvan Messenger, another reload. That hit 2 Priest of Titanias and an Elvish Champion. Priest is in. Do I want to go to 3 to kill the Priest with Plow right now? I don't think so. That actually does change what mana I have access to next turn. So I need to, between my draw step and search, I need to hit Replenish and Wave, or at least Wave. And then we'll figure out Replenish later. Normally there would be some cool tricks to do with Ancient Tomb, like float 4 off Ancient Tomb, Island, Frantic Search, then you're actually making mana instead of just washing it out. I don't think I have the luxury of doing that. I have 1, 2, well, I can only tap one of these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to get cute here. I'm just going to cast Frantic Search off of my basics. 2 attunements. Probably not good enough. What can I do here? Get hit, Plow the Priest, get hit by Sylvan Messenger. Oh, but there's a champion in hand. There's 2 Rangers. There's only 1 unknown card in that hand. All right, well, I'll discard Seal of Cleansing. And how many attunements can I possibly play in a game? Not this many. Maybe I need this many. No, but it returns to your hand. Okay. 1 attunement, I think, is the same as 2. Okay, and then I can go 1, 2, 3 for attunement. And I have Plow up. Where do I need to point this Plow? Because if I Plow the Priest now, that's a bunch of stuff they can't do on their turn. But if I get hit by Sylvan Messenger, I can't tap Ancient Tomb anymore. Okay, I'm just passing here. I'm hoping they don't have another Concordant Crossroads or Biorhythm. Ranger, Ranger, Champ. What I would like to do is just let them dump out their hand, Plow the Messenger. And if they Biorhythm me, I'm just dead. Yeah, okay. All right, that's fair. I tried, team. Can't play around all of it when I took, what, like 14 damage that game from my own lands. I think at 5 life, I Plow the Titania, but at 4, I can't. Definitely at 6 or 7, I Plow her. And yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they were almost at Biorhythm anyway. That was sweet. Okay, got my ass. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. This hand is great. We love lands. I like that I'm having a blast losing. That's a sign of a good format, or at least a novel format. Okay, I could set up this Frantic Search for turn 2, or I could play out a little slower. I think I'm just going to develop the planes and take my time here, at least until I know what's going on. I love how I just said take my time. I hope my opponent casts Standstill on their turn, and then I got to figure that out. But Stifle is a big part of the format. Dreadnought is one of the top decks. I wasn't trying to just run a fetch land into that while my opponent's on the play. I can search frantically in the future and net mana off it rather than break even. Very Conclave. All right, yeah. Looks a little standstilly. Opalescence. Skycloud Expanse. All right, if we're playing Draw Go, I can play Draw Go. I got crazy number of lands in my hand. And a crazy number of Opalescences. Zoinks. Should I take this opportunity to resolve Frantic Search? Probably. And this could even hit Mana Leak, and it did. Okay, discard Opalescence X2. And this hit the leak. Found what I was looking for. And then tapped like a clown. Now I have to take damage to Swords to Plowshares, when I could have done it any other way. Hopefully that just doesn't matter. Okay, we did it. Another Mana Leak. This means I can protect my intuition. I don't know that I'm ready to intuition yet. I could get 3 replenishes, but my graveyard is just 2 Opalescence, and that's not really that useful. All right, my opponent missed a land drop. Missing the first land drop in a control mirror is a big deal. Seal of Cleansing on the stack. They may or may not care about that, but I like it being invested. Got him again. That's as good as that gets. I am running out of lands here. My own! Okay, game on. I have enough mana to Intuition and Factor Fiction in the end step. I have to assume my opponent has counterspells, and they're going to have to go to discard before me. With two powerful things to do in their end step, I am going to make them play this out. All right, accumulated knowledge for 1. That's fair. There are builds of this deck that have accumulated knowledge. The list I pulled is doing it a little different. Nightscape Familiar. All right, a target for the Swords to Plowshares I've been sitting on for my entire life. Plow that. And still playing Drago. There's Replenish. All right, now I can get a little more aggro. Like, I could just put Opalescence on the stack and see if they feel how they feel about that. Okay, they got 7 cards in hand again. Another land. What happens if I play Opalescence here? I can still Factor Fiction. All right, I'll just put this on the stack of Rooney, and I can start attacking for 2 at minimum, or I can flush out a counterspell. All right, attack for 2. Game on. All right, AK, this puts them up to 8 cards in hand. Then 9. Hit a land drop. Psychotog, oh, there he is. There's that boy. All right, I might need the blocker here. Okay, I think I want to... And Force Spike and Daze are tough. I'm going to fetch in the end step and try to get something moving here. I could go for the Intuition, or I could... I'm going to Factor Fiction. No, I have to play around Force Spike. All right. I'm not going to get disrespected by a Force Spike on turn 11 of a game. I think I just want 3 waves here. Like, this is just the hard lock. If it can happen. Okay, draw for turn. Another Replenish. Do I have enough white mana to do it all? And what's the sequence? If I play Tide, I can exile all their lands. And then Parallax Wave will definitely resolve. A counter spell resolves. I'm going to get Force Spiked. I can't wait. Wave. They obviously have a counter spell. Okay, it's not Force Spike. At least the disrespect isn't there. How big is Tog? Exile 2 cards from your graveyard. There's currently 8. So that's a 5 power plus the cards in their hand. All right, I can't pay that. I am going to leave back my Seal of Cleansing as a blocker, but removal spell plus big dump could kill me here. They have 7, 8, 9, 10. They have exactly lethal with a removal spell. All right. Okay, what do I want here? The Intuition for a removal spell. Then I prefer they didn't have a bunch of lands to do that with. This seems so horrific. Can I give them Tog and Intuition or the 3 lands? All right, spells or lands, I think is a reasonable split here. They took the lands. Or they just took the pile with more cards in it because they're going to kill me right now. That's also possible. Coliseum going nuts. We both know this is the last turn of the game, one way or another. Discarded Wonder, they got me. All right, yeah, with flying, that'll definitely do it. Sick. All right, Seal of Cleansing doesn't fly. This format rules so hard. Gush is legal. Nice. And here goes their hand of 10 cards plus the graveyard. All right. I guess I should play it out to try to see more cards. Recoil. Worth knowing about. That is a blue-black answer to an enchantment. All right, you got me. I wonder if I could have been 1 turn more aggressive there. I was really patient through the mid-game. But I wasn't really rolled up with the quadruple send until the last turn. A plow, pretty important. Orm's Chant could help me win a counter war. Stifle doesn't seem that good. And if you snipe their first land, it could be great. Sabo's Web. I mean, there's 3 copies of the 75, including one in the main, and it's just not that important, it seems. I guess it would have locked down Fairy Conclave that game, but I haven't played against any Rashad Port decks. Abeyance is like another Orm's Chant. They have to commit to the Tog in their upkeep, and then they can't counterspell my plow. Is that how we do this? Factor Fiction definitely coming in. That's a huge bullet in this combo control mirror. Pseudo mirror. Do I want Abeyance over my last Seal of Cleansing? Can I shave an Opalescence? Drawing 3 of those that game was pretty bad. It gives me 1 Abeyance. Do I want 0 Seal of Cleansings? I might. Alright, let's try it. 2 lands. I'm a little nervous about that. I have a cantrip, and then... Alright, how many lands do I play? There are 25 lands in my deck, and 4 of them are Ancient Tomb. I'll try this. A pass. Do I have to Abeyance just for the cantrip? This is a bad land drop to miss. It's a bad land to get stifled, too. I think I want to Abeyance. Please don't stifle me. Oh, God. All right. All right, you can't do stuff. This is obviously a desperate play, but it was right because I missed the land drop. Bad news, team. I remember last game when I was hitting land drops and they weren't, and I said that makes me favored. The opposite is true now. Discarding Opalescence. I don't even have a leak. Like, if they just factor Fiction in the end step, it's extremely over. Or even just run Tog out here. Mishra's Factory. A artifact or enchantment appears. Zombie Infestation. That's going to be hard to beat. Oh, good news, everybody. We're in. I am going to try to start doing stuff on their end step. They can make 12 power right now. Or no, that's the opposite. They can make 6 power right now. You can make power equal to the cards in your hand, as long as it's an even number. That's how Zombie Infestation works. So they valued 2/2 more than Island plus Recoil. Do I value Intuition or Frantic Search higher? If Search resolves, I can also Intuition. Maybe I should have just tapped out for attunement there. All right, end step. Search. Oh God, Skycloud Expanse, why are you so annoying? Hold on, hold on. I actually do this. Okay, Frantic Search. They thought about playing a spell, then didn't. Mana Leak, you got me. The 4th land. Are we in? Are we gaming? I don't have Replenish. I do have Tide. I do have Factor Fiction. I do have Opalescence. Alright, it kind of sucks that they can just ignore this card, but it rules that it immediately combos out if I resolve this wave ever. Oh no! Zombie Infestation is a creature. I've blown it. Yeah, this is all of them, isn't it? I just doubled their clock. Whoops. Gushing in the end step. This can make another 6 power. Yeah, if they just have a counterspell in their hand, they win. Okay, they made 1 Zombo discarding Island Tog. 6 cards in hand. This format is so cool. I'm sure I'm making a lot of just fundamental mistakes because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun not knowing what I'm doing. All right, well, I'm dead here because they have lethal on board, so I have to just go for it. Null, brutal. All right. And they can make 4 more power plus the factory. This is lethal if they go all in, and they didn't. All right. So they either didn't see it or there's some card they're playing around that I can't imagine. Duress. That can take my other wave. That's a bummer. That was my second run. My out to actually win this game. So now I have to rip the last wave out of my deck or one of the replenishes and hope they don't have a counterspell. I mean, that can block. It's not enough. This Opalescence starting on their Zombie Infestation. I'm such a moron. Okay, all right, GG's. I have yet to win a game, but I'm having a blast. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4 with mana to do stuff. I'm going to keep. Getting into this headspace of the power level of this format is pretty fun. Just knowing that all the cards are bad, but also all the decks are good. it's a weird dichotomy of how to balance your resources or what you need to be worried about on what turn. Just really satisfying. Okay, well, I was going to develop Seal of Cleansing. Maybe I still am. Okay, how's this game going to go? If I take 1 to mana leak something this turn, that's something they don't have. And then I take 3 on the next turn to Fact or Fiction. Or I could develop Seal of Cleansing now, wipe out all their lands next turn, but then they're going to be on board. All right, I'm not going to develop the Seal, but I was going to until I drew Mana Leak. And of course, if we see our first Wasteland of the league, that makes everything worse for me. Rashad Port, okay. It's not Wasteland. Literally not Wasteland. All right, it would be nice for that Zabo's Web to show up now. Okay, they're going to port my blue, and I'm going to take it. Now I have the option of developing Seal or playing Ancient Tomb so I can Fact or Fiction in my next upkeep. The Seal has the added benefit of I now have both Parallax items in my hand. All right, I'm going to go for Seal. And if they're porting me, then they're not casting spells. It costs twice as much mana to activate port than port denies the opponent. And I have this surprise Ancient Tomb looming. Skark Prospector. All right, straight up Goblin. Goblin on it. I have all my mana this turn, unless they want to sack a Goblin to port me, which they don't. Probably smart. All right, yeah, I'm going to do the wave. Skark Prospector is kind of scary, especially with them missing land drops. I just don't want to be involved in that situation. And I'm not doing the Seal of Cleansing trick on 2 creatures. I have a second wave that I can deploy in the future if I need to. And I'd rather Parallax Tide Seal of Cleansing do that trick if they're stuck on mana. Goblin Lackey. And I fade down to 2, draw Opalescence. That should be game over, right? Opalescence, attack for 6, and then we start doing the trick. All right, hold priority, exile Goblin Lackey. In response, exile Parallax Wave. Wave goes away, the first 2 creatures come back, waves come back, then Lackey's gone forever. Then we hold priority, exile Fanatic, exile Prospector, and then release priority, exile Wave. Opponent seems to be doing some mental math of how does this work and can I ever win? Do I concede? Do you simply concede to this situation? And you definitely donked me for 1 with Mog Fanatic. I mean, maybe if they have a spell to cast, they could sack. And you can sack Prospector regardless. It's probably better in the graveyard than permanently exiled. Just, that's my bet. They could even port me with the mana. Ooh, a spell. Cycling Gem Palm Incinerator, dealing 0, just drawing a card. That's fair. Look at this Gem Palm Incinerator. Never even seen that. Dom remastered. Okay, you deal 0 to my Parallax Wave. Draw a card. This gets exiled, then it comes back. And then the things are already dead. I can also just untap my Seal of Cleansing if I want to do that. Just exile it, let it resolve, then exile Wave. Oh, they also can't kill the wave because it can exile itself in response to a removal spell. They're probably in a tough spot from here, would be my hope, my guess. All right, sweet. Cool, we finally did the thing. Hydroblast, Swords to Plowshares. We're against the Rashad Port deck. Do I want all the webs in? Goblins is also a deck full of triggered and activated abilities, like Goblin Lackey. Big deal on that one. I feel like I might just want to be tapping out every turn and doing my thing. Mana Leak looks a little wonky. Seal of Cleansing. I'm probably going to just cut that every round because it seems like the worst card. Unless we're playing against Dreadnought or something very obvious that this is for. If anyone has Graveyard Hate, it's likely to be an artifact or enchantment though. So keeping my combo intact makes sense on that one. Wrath of God certainly has to come in. Maybe I don't need 3 webs. I'm just running out of cards I'm happy to cut. And 1 Opalescence. I've been doing a bit of that. Is Fact or Fiction worse than Opalescence when I know it's going to be a creature matchup? Am I ever going to leave open 4 mana on their turn? It's something to do through Rashad but that's why I have these webs. All right, I think I'm going to live without 1 of the Opalescences. Orange Chant could blow out a combat. Exalted Angel is bigger than their stuff. I mean, maybe there's just a heavy juke here where I cut a lot of this stuff and just bring in Chants, Angels, all the webs, but I am not advanced enough in this matchup to know if that's even a thing, much less if it's correct to do. Comboing out felt correct to do, I gotta say. When the creature deck had no more creatures forever, that felt pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna just do this. These games are also going really fast. I thought signing up with this blue-white control deck in this moderately powered format, I'd be here for a while, but this league is cruising. All right, 2 plows and mana, I'm in. Goblin Lackey, we did it. We passed the first test. One of the secrets of high power formats, though, eternal formats, is that everywhere that Wasteland is bad, Rishadan Port is good. And having this one basic plains to play on, I'm not getting wasted, but if they have a port, I'm not going to have white mana for basically ever. The double plow for the double lackey feels good, man. But they're getting into turn 3 where the things lackey would poop into play could just be cast. And there's port. Goblin Warchief. This is a haste creature. And every other creature is now also a haste creature. The third lackey is likely to connect, I'm afraid to say. Oh, Frantic Search, let's go. That's a good one. Get something going here. Discard. All right, now Opalescence is in my hand. Do I want to go all in on Replenish? Okay, I'm going to discard Seal and Opalescence. Or is it Factor Fiction? I think Replenish is the way to do this. To fire this attunement as well. All right, pass the turn. Hope I don't die. Hope they don't have graveyard hate. Matron, this is dangerous. Yeah, this is a cost-reduced Matron, which the thing they tutor for will also be cost-reduced. They could grab a Lackey here and connect if they have a Big O as one of the last 2 cards in their hand. That would involve tapping out of Rishadan Port, which gives me the critical 4 mana on my turn, where if I find a Replenish, we're gaming. All right, they're just starting the chain. Patron for Matron, leaving up port. They do have to fetch to port, though. And there is 1 Stifle in my deck. I could attune now, but Stifling is the same. All right, yeah. Casting Stifle on that is the same as them porting me. I just get to select whether it's a blue or white mana that gets tapped. A Forest. All right, that's probably for, like, Naturalized, would be my guess. Okay, I would rather have more cards in my hand when I attune. All right, Drew Wrath. That's nice. All right, attune. Discard 4. It's gonna be, I think, Tide, Tomb, Island, Factor Fiction. Am I just all in? I could Factor Fiction. Instead of Attunement, I could Foff this turn off of the Ancient Tomb, but that doesn't get me triple white that I need to Wrath next turn. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is just the cost of doing business, and I'll replay the Attunement. This is the sequence that maximizes Replenish and lets me cast Wrath of God next turn, if I even get a next turn. Like, Matron could get Pile Driver. Pile Driver hits for 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You put me to 3 right now. And if they have another Goblin somewhere on the chain, I'm just dead. But they did fetch Forest, which is kind of bad at casting Goblins. But it's good at casting Naturalize. But Naturalize is bad at killing Attunement. Attunement's in a weird spot because it's card neutral. Like, if they just Naturalize Attunement right now or Pyroblast it, I guess I would use it because I'm a graveyard deck. No, okay, so I would use it because if I can replace this Wrath of God in my hand with Replenish, that's a better win. I can exile all their lands and have 3 large blockers in play. All right, here is the Matron. They've decided where they're going with it. Another Matron. They're keeping the chain alive. And they tap out a port to do this, which seems risky to me, but you're the boss. That seems to indicate that they have Pyroblast and Naturalize in hand to cover the things that might go wrong this turn. I could just Wrath, though, and play on. That sounds pretty good. All right, smush their creatures. They played around the Wrath by chaining Matrons together. They've added to the board every turn without their hand getting any smaller. They found the 3rd mountain, which probably would have killed me if they had it last turn. That was definitely the draw for turn, because they've not played a land for 2 turns now. And now Matron costs the full amount, leaving up green. That means they're either leaving up interaction or they're going to port me, and they're not adding to the board. Another Warchief. Yeah, that guy's pretty good. Okay, it doesn't matter what they port, because I can do it all. Attunement. Come on, replenish. Show me the goods. Wave and Tide. I could discard everything except Attunement and Ancient Tomb, and then rip another 4 cards. Or no, you need 1 card in your hand, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I would end up with Attunement, Tomb in hand, play the Tomb, play the Attunement, draw 4. Yeah, okay, so you need at least 1 card in your hand for Attunement to do anything. I think I'm going to get rid of the redundant Attunement, the Tide, the Tomb, and the Plains, and then just play out Wave. That's really bad in a Naturalize, though, because I would exile Matron, then they would kill this, and then they would get Matron back and a trigger, and I wouldn't have Wave. Okay, I guess I'm going to keep the Attunement and the Ancient Tomb, then. I keep Attunement. I'm not playing the Tomb, because I want more options next turn. Just shredding for Replenish. That's the entire game at this point. They could port me in the end step. Didn't do it. Not worried about Mana Leak or Swords to Plowshares or Hydroblast, it seems. War Chief resolves. Matron can get Pile Driver. All right, well, I'm going to see what they get, and then I'm probably going to attune and probably just hope to hit Hydroblast or Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, there's Pile Driver. This is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, this is lethal, so I better do something. We did it. Okay, I have to keep the Swords to Plowshares. It is required. And killing War Chief takes more damage off the board right now. And then I just got to replenish and we're fine. Right deck? Here we go, replenish. Attunement, hell yeah. All right. The game continues, but not till next turn. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm at 2. If you have anything with haste or anything that deals damage, I'm dead. Ringleader. All right, that's good enough. I will look at what flips in case there's any information revealed. Sharpshooters in, multiple Pile Drivers. Okay. All right, so I went through fully half my deck without a replenish. That's what happened there. I can accept that. Exalted Angel. Do I juke? Is this something I'm interested in? The Orange Chant stopping combat is so tempting. I could see any of these cards being better than Stifle. Attunement was a big part of that game, but the second one is pretty bad. But if I go 2 Angels and 1 Chant over some of this blue stuff, I don't want to cut too much of my churn, and losing a Fact or Fiction and an Attunement is tough. But if I draw Exalted Angel, then I don't need to churn, I just have the biggest creature. Does Worm's Chant make any sense at all? And I could, if I have Replenish, I could chant them and then replenish, exile all their permanents before they can naturalize my Opalescence. That's something. And it affects combat. All right, I will try it like this. Go deeper into the juke, but still mostly comboing. Not the one-lander, mulligan. All right, I think I have to keep hands like this. And I need double white. I also need double blue, which makes Ancient Tomb the worst land in my hand. And I'm definitely failing the Lackey test here. I'm going to hope they don't put me to that test, or that I draw one of my 6 answers to Lackey. They didn't have it. All right, that's one way to pass a Lackey test. Seal of Cleansing, get in there. Yeah, Attunement's actually bonkers here. Okay, if they're porting me on the draw without a threat, I think I'm okay with this type of game, as long as they hit land drops, or at least hit them better than my opponent does. Okay, Wastes, we're getting there. Bluesland Forest. All right, War Chief, they tapped out for that. Give me some. All right, this lets me get a wave onto the board. Or am I more interested in Tide? I think I'm more interested in Wave. I'm going to take the Chief immediately because it has the cost reduction benefit. Like wait and see just isn't an option there. And they might have Naturalize here, and it might even be okay, but with double Replenish in hand, we've got a plan. Okay. They did have the Naturalize, but they did have to use it. Yeah, I think here I am supposed to do the Tide trick and then Replenish on the following turn and hope they don't have 2 Pile Drivers right now. Ringleader, all right. If they're tutoring 4 drops, that's probably a good sign to destroy all their lands. Another Replenish. Okay, hold priority. Exile forest, exile port, exile mountain, and destroy Parallax Tide. All right, sick. All your lands are gone. Go You do have 3 damage in play. I can replenish a trillion times. 3 damage coming in. Replenish. There's no surgical extraction in the format. I don't know what they could do here. I could just smoke their creatures permanently because I have the replenishes going. I'll take the mountain. And then I think I'm just going to do the trick here and smoke these things forever. Okay, no creatures, no lands. Holding a 4-drop in their hand. I can slow tide their next handful of lands. And if I find an Opalescence, which I did, that'll do pig. Attack for 4. Delete your land before you can use it. And then next turn I should be able to go off. Okay, so what I need to do here is exile 2 of my own lands in the end step. Or hold priority, exile 1 of my lands twice. I need Parallax Tide to die. But it dies in the upkeep, and they get Mountain Port back. I don't think they can keep me off 4 mana. No, I'm okay. All right. Hold priority, exile Adakar Wastes, and hold priority, exile Adakar Wastes. And then this dies in the upkeep. We all get our lands back. There's only one reason for me to be doing that, and it's because I have another replenish. Everybody gets their lands back, fair and square. They can port me, but didn't. Replenish. Are we out of here? Okay, holding priority, exile, Rishadan Port, exile, mountain, and they've conceded. We did it. We won a match. Executing the combo multiple times feels good. Finally on the board. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the draw in the final round. I have this pretty interactive hand, only 2 lands, but my deck is nearly half lands. Please don't betray me. Exploration. Okay. Here we go. Hickory Woodlot. Flooded Strand. I think I'm just going to play Plains. Playing Flooded Strand would play around Rishadan Port better, but I don't know if that's something I need to play around here. The Hickory Woodlot is strange to me. As a deck that's trying to ramp generally wouldn't rely on an effect like Exploration, but a deck that's trying to have sticky mana for the game that Exploration would normally indicate probably wouldn't want Hickory Woodlot, so I am fascinated where this is going. They're definitely going huge. Propaganda. Okay, I can't attack. 1 card left in hand. Mana Bond trigger. Is it a land? No. Okay. Mana Leak doesn't seem like it's going to do anything. Seal of Cleansing. I mean, their hand's empty at this point. They're not mana bonding. Exploration requires land drops to continue. I guess I'll just invest the seal. Because if I get this tied on the stack, turn after next, and exile all these lands, that's something. A mana bond trigger in the end step. Alright. Whatever they're doing, they seem to be running out of juice on it. They have Frantic Search and Attunement. Frantic Search is card negative. I have to be careful about this. Like, I'd love to search into Attunement. Alright, I will then. Can't stop me. I'm a grown-up. A Frantic Search. Discard Opalescence and Tide. And then I can play Attunement and just try to find my 4th land somewhere. And then the game is over. I guess they are showing blue mana. I don't know if it's just for propaganda or if they're going to mana leak my Replenish. That would be kind of tough. They played a 2nd Woodlot, which incinerated City of Traders without really developing anything. Mana Bond trigger. Still nothing. Draw. Sabo's Web. All of their things actually only just tap for mana, so that's not very good. I'm going to attune here. Wow, missed on the lands. That's brutal. Okay, Swords to Plowshares I don't think is where I'm trying to be. Finding the 2nd Replenish rules. I guess Sabo's Web and Factor Fiction can go away here. And then I just replay Attunement. And I don't really need to refire it immediately. That was brutal. I feel like they were out of gas 3 turns ago, but now anything could happen. And all of these are enchantments, so I don't even really need to Seal of Cleanse them. If Opalescence comes in with Wave, I can exile them. I don't have Wave, though. All right, the 3rd Replenish. And the land. Okay. I'm going to discard Tide, Seal, Tide, and I guess Attunement. My plan from here on out is to just ram Replenishes into play forever. I'm going to destroy Propaganda, and then cast Replenish, and hope they don't have some graveyard hate. I can push through counter spells. All right, they just have nothing. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused and scared. They're definitely some kind of lands deck, which makes me think Sabo's Web is probably good. But also I saw like 7 lands that game and none of them were affected by Web. What is going on around here? Mana Leak seems kind of bad because they are getting lands into play so fast. Do I just bring in more webs on spec? Like if their exploration, or that if they have turn 1 mana bond and just put in 2 lands plus 2 ports and just port me twice for the entire game, that could be pretty rough. How do they win? Are there creatures? Do I Swords to Plowshares them? I truly don't know anything. I think I'm going to board out 2 plows, 2 leaks, because I just don't know what's going on. Oh, one of these webs was in the main, so I actually am boarding out too many cards here, or I can get another one. That is not the correct map. Stifle, Abeyance, Wormschant, Exalted Angel just in case. And I'm going to bring in an extra Stifle. This feels like a matchup where stifling my Parallax Tide trigger fair and square could be huge. All right, I have no idea what's going on, and let's play it out and see what happens, I guess. 1 land, double Stifle. Sad. Got a mulligan this. I'm also on the draw where Stifle's a lot worse. Okay, 4 lands and good cards. I'm going to keep, and I'm actually going to bin one of the lands here because the spells are valuable. These are just all the best spells I play. Forest. Mana Bond. All right. Let's party. What do you got? What does your deck actually do? The last Mana Bond triggered 4 times and put in 0 lands. I don't think that's going to be the case now. Okay. Wow. That's pretty aggressive. Discarded Exploration, Disrupt, and Roar of the Worm. Are they just turboing out worms? I'm glad I left some Swords to Plowshares in my deck. And I can actually pretty easily defeat this worm. They make a 6/6 this turn, they hit me with it once, then I Parallax Wave it and it's gone forever. Alright, you've got a 6/6 worm. Mana Bond, please don't put in Rishadenport. Alright, Forest coming into play. They could have just played that, but chose to do it that way. I respect it. Plains pass. This would be a big turn for them to not draw Disrupt. Or Rishadenport. Uh-oh, something's happening. Mana Breach. Whenever a player casts a spell, that player returns a land they control to its owner's hand. I can live with that. I don't need to cast very many spells at this point. And I don't actually want to draw another plane, so I will fetch now. Alright. Parallax Wave. I have to bounce a planes. The wave deletes the worm for infinity. Don't even need a combo on that one. That's how tokens work. And now I have to be judicious with my spells. The Fact or Fiction is a pretty good spell. Oh, they had City of Traders in play the other turn when they didn't play Forest, so they actually did do something intentional and cool. When they mana bonded it in, they weren't just goofing. That's a cool play. I really don't want to get disrupted. That seems too good. Mana Breach also just breaks the other way, because any spell they cast, they pick up the land, and then end of turn the lands just come back. I'm going to be patient here. I'm not going to Fact or Fiction into Disrupt. Oh, they don't even have blue mana. What am I doing? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, team. Okay, they know about the planes. Sure, I'll show it to them again. I can set up this game to a spot where I Fact or Fiction over the next 2 turns, and then on the turn that wave dies, I have a huge Replenish. That sounds pretty good. Mana Bond number 2. This is a ramp. They pick up the City of Traders, then can poop it back in. Sarah Sanctum. Oh, yeah, we're gaming. Where's this going? Okay, Mana Bond trigger. If they use this, their hand will be empty. They tapped a bunch of mana, then didn't do it. Alright, I'm going to Fact or Fiction in the end step and pick up my tapped planes, probably. Alright, well, there's a bunch of good cards. If they give me Replenish and then all the other shit, because I already have Replenish, that would be so sick. Alright, I think I want all the other shit. Yeah, I will take this one. My hand has millions of cards in it. I'll have to discard some of them, but I can live with that. Attunement. That's quite good. Okay, I do have to bounce some stuff. If I play out my stuff, I could also just go to discard and have a thick-ass graveyard and then play Replenish next turn. That plays into graveyard hate, but I accept that risk. A discard, wave. I don't want this other Ancient Tomb, and I guess Attunement. There will already be 2 waves in there. Well, I can Factor Fiction and step again, and then Replenish on my turn. Do it all around Disrupt. Blue mana revealed. Let these mana bonds resolve. I don't think they're going to do anything with it. All right, Factor Fiction again. Bounce my planes. All right, a punch of Garbo. Okay, this time I actually will take the Replenish, because that is my plan for the rest of the game. Here's this planes again. This Replenish gets back Parallax Wave and Attunement. It's pretty modest, but I got 3 of them. Pick up the planes again. Okay, yeah, here's all this stuff. And then I'll discard planes to hand size. Or Flooded Strand's probably worse than planes. My life total is getting low. I've had to use this Ancient Tomb a lot. City of Traders finally redeployed. Mana Bond still not being used. This turn, Wave dies, and I can activate it. Oh, they have used it. Cool. All right, so there's a Roar of the Worm in the graveyard, and they are empty. It is party time. All right, Wave dies, other Wave ticks down, draw for turn, another Attunement. Let it rip. There's the Opalescence. GG. Okay, Opalescence. I don't have Tide, though. I think I'm going to discard Opalescence, Seal of Cleansing, and 2 Attunements. Planes. Replenish numero dos. The other 2 still in my hand. I'm at 3 life. I hope that's not a combo. All right. Oh, right. I have this now, so I can deal with their enchantments that are now creatures. And they got nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, smoke all your stuff. Attack for 4. All right, I think it would now be hard to lose this game. They are dead on board for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Xaxes. They're passing the turn to me. Draw. Play a land. Attack with everything. And Opalescence ends the game very quickly. In addition to the combo, you just have so much power and toughness. Redemption at the very end. This was a lot of fun. Obviously, there was some stuff like I didn't know what some of my opponent's decks were doing. Some sequencing stuff like, do I just start jamming enchantments in the main phase? Do I hold up my mana for Factor Fiction or a mana leak? How to sideboard was kind of all over the place. I suspect I probably wasn't tiding aggressively enough. I feel like, at least in the early matches, I was holding tides and trying to combo off when I probably could have just exiled 3 lands and gotten way ahead and then figured it out later. But that's okay. It's a relatively new format to me, and I had a lot of fun playing it. We started to figure it out towards the end. PREMODERN is super cool. We played against 5 different decks. They were all cool. My deck's cool. This is certainly an experience in the Magic world, and I fully understand why the format is so popular. I hope I get to play this a couple more times before it rotates away on Magic Online, and I hope it rotates back on Magic Online without too large of a delay in between opportunities to play it. Peter, thank you for asking me to play PREMODERN. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. Go play PREMODERN on Magic Online while you can, and I'll see you next time.